I want you to be honest with me.
Uh-oh.
How much time this week have you spent just staring at a black screen, waiting for those three little gray dots to appear?
The bubbles of doom.
Exactly, the bubbles, or, checking the timestamp. He read it at 4.02. It's now 4.45.
Is he dead? Is he mad? Did I use the wrong emoji? It's humiliating.
It is, and it's the modern version of he loves me not.
Yeah, but instead of pulling petals off a flower, we are inducing a massive cortisol spike on our couch while Netflix just plays in the background.
And that is exactly where we are going today. We're looking at a conversation between Jay Shetty and the dating expert Sabrina Zohar.
And this one hits close to home.
It really does, because the premise isn't just how to get the guy. It's about why we torture ourselves in the first place.
Right. The sources argue that we've been asking the wrong question this whole time. Most of us go into dating asking, do they like me? Am I interesting enough?
Which is just a nightmare for your self-esteem, right? You're handing all your power to a complete stranger.
Exactly. And the sources say we need to flip the script. The question has to be, do I feel safe? Do I feel seen? Do I feel secure with this person?
That sounds great on a bumper sticker, but in practice, that is really, really hard to identify when you're in the thick of it.
Oh, for sure.
So today, we're going to unpack why we are basically programmed to chase the wrong people, the neuroscience behind the spark, and spoiler alert, it is not what you think.
Not at all.
And how to stop spiraling over text messages.
Yeah, and we should probably put a little disclaimer on this one. We're going to talk about dating, but to do that, we have to talk about childhood.
And trauma.
And biology, because you just can't separate who you date from how you grew up.
Fair warning to everyone listening. We are going deep. So let's start with the big one. Why do we do it? Why do we chase the person who is chaotic, who's emotionally unavailable? It feels like bad luck, doesn't it? Like you just keep meeting the same person with a different face.
It feels like bad luck, but the source material brings up this concept that explains it perfectly. It's a Freudian term called repetition compulsion.
Repetition compulsion. Okay, break that down for me.
So in, simple terms, it means we are subconsciously driven to date the parts of ourselves that haven't been healed yet.
So you're not just dating a person, you're dating a dynamic.
Exactly, a dynamic. You're looking for a feeling that is familiar.
Even if that familiar feeling makes us miserable.
Especially if it makes us miserable. If miserable was your baseline growing up, then, well, miserable feels like home.
That's rough.
Yeah. Sabrina Zohar shares a really personal example. She grew up with a father who was chaotic and narcissistic. There was no safety.
So her baseline for what love felt like was chaos.
Precisely. Her nervous system learned that love is something you have to earn, that it's inconsistent. So as an adult, she found herself dating narcissistic men.
Not because she logically wanted to be treated badly.
No, of course not. No one wants that. But because her nervous system was trying to solve the puzzle of her childhood.
It's like she's trying to rewrite the ending of the movie.
Yeah.
If I can get this chaotic person to finally love me, then I'm finally good enough.
You've got it. It's an attempt to retroactively fix the trauma, and this leads us to the most dangerous lie in modern dating, which I know you're going to fight me on this one.
Uh-oh.
The spark.
Oh, don't you dare take the spark away from me. That's the best part. The butterflies, the electricity. Are you telling me that's bad?
I'm saying it's often a false positive. We interpret that high-intensity anxiety, butterflies, the obsessing as chemistry.
But it's not.
The sources suggest that for people with that kind of chaotic background, that feeling is actually a threat response.
A threat response. Like run away.
It's your body going into hyperarousal. It recognizes the chaos. Your amygdala is screaming, "Warning! Danger! This feels familiar!"
But because our wires are crossed, we interpret that adrenaline rush as, wow, I must really like this person.
Exactly.
That is terrifying. So if I meet someone and my heart is pounding out of my chest, I should be suspicious.
You should at least pause. Because here's the flip side, and this is the part that is really hard to swallow.
Okay.
If you meet someone secure, someone kind, consistent, who calls when they say they will, it might feel boring.
Boring. See, that's the problem. Nobody wants a boring relationship. That sounds like settling.
But you have to ask yourself, is it boring or is it just peaceful? If you are used to a roller coaster, standing on solid ground feels like you're not moving.
So we're basically junkies for the drama.
In a way, yes. We're addicted to what's called intermittent reinforcement. The highs feel so much higher because the lows are so low.
Okay, that makes sense logically, but in the moment, that anxiety, it feels very real. It doesn't feel like a choice. How do we stop?
So the source introduces this framework from a neuroscientist, a Dr. Chris Lee. It's called state, story, strategy.
State, story, strategy. Walk me through it.
Okay, so it starts with state. This is your physiology. Where is your body at?
Right. Regulated or fight or flight.
Exactly. And this is where the biology gets, completely unfair.
The stat on this was wild.
It is. So the amygdala, that's the fear center of your brain, it activates in about 10 to 12 milliseconds. It is instantaneous.
10 milliseconds, okay.
But the prefrontal cortex, the part that handles logic, reasoning, choice.
The part that says, maybe don't send that text?
That's the one. It takes about 235 milliseconds to come online.
So fear has a massive head start.
A massive one. It's something like 10 to 20 times faster than logic, and that is why you send the crazy text before you can stop yourself. Your body perceives the threat, and your amygdala sounds the alarm.
And your logic is just, like, still tying its shoes.
Exactly. So that's the state, panic.
Okay.
And from that state, you create a story. That's step 2. If your state is fear, your story is going to be fearful. You become a tragic poet. I'm not safe. They found someone better.
I'm going to die alone. We get very creative when we're panicked.
We do. And then comes step 3, strategy. This is what you do based on that story.
And usually the strategy is terrible.
It's usually protest behavior. You double text, you call them, you pick a fight just to get some kind of reaction.
So what's the good strategy here? If my brain is hijacked, what am I supposed to do?
The strategy is to do nothing.
Nothing. That sounds impossible.
Literally nothing. You have to expand what they call your window of tolerance. You have to sit in that burning discomfort long enough for the prefrontal cortex to catch up.
Wait for the logic to come online.
Right. You have to make a choice, not a reaction.
Expanding your window of tolerance. I like that. It's like building a muscle of not acting on every impulse.
Exactly. Realizing that a feeling isn't a command. It's just a feeling. It will pass if you don't feed it.
Okay, that helps with the internal stuff.
Yeah.
But we're also out there dealing with other people.
Yeah.
And some of them are actually bad news. How do we spot the difference?
Great question, because sometimes it's not you, it's them. The source gives some really concrete red flags to look for, and the subtle.
Give me the subtle ones.
The first is the crazy ex narrative. If you're on a first date and they say, yeah, all my exes are crazy,
Run.
Run. Because it shows zero accountability. If everyone in their past was the problem, the common denominator is them.
Right. If you run into an asshole in the morning, you ran into an asshole. If you run into assholes all day,
yeah,
you're the asshole.
Exactly. Another big one is the you deserve better line.
Ugh, I hate that one. It sounds so noble. Oh, you're an angel. You deserve better than me.
Don't fall for it. It's not humility. It's a disclaimer they are telling on themselves. It translates to, I am not going to meet your needs, so when I inevitably disappoint you, I can say, I told you so.
Believe them the first time.
Always. And the third one is boundary mocking. Sabrina shared this story where she told a date she couldn't go out at 10 p.m. because she goes to bed at 9:30.
Which is a totally reasonable boundary.
Right. But the guy mocked her, asked if her babysitter wouldn't let her out, then he unmatched her.
Wow. The trash took itself out.
It did. But the lesson is crucial. If they can't respect a tiny boundary like a bedtime, they will not respect your emotional or sexual boundaries later on.
So those are the warnings. What about the green flags? What does good actually look like?
A major green flag is how they handle that ex conversation. A great, if bold, question for a first date is, how did your last relationship end, and what did it teach you about yourself?
That is bold. That's a job interview question.
It is, but you aren't looking for a specific answer. You're looking for a growth mindset. You want someone who can say, I learned that I need to communicate better, or I realized I wasn't ready. You want self-reflection.
You want someone who sees themselves as a work in progress.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pivot to something that trips up so many people. It's the idea of potential. We meet someone, they seem great on paper, but they just aren't showing up. And we tell ourselves, well, if he wanted to, he would.
Ah, if he wanted to, he would. The most popular dating advice on the internet.
But is it true?
The source argues it's too simple. It misses a huge piece of the puzzle. We have to distinguish between ability and capacity.
Okay, what's the difference?
Ability is the skill or the desire. Someone might want to be a good partner, they might have the ability to be kind, but capacity is about bandwidth. Do they have the emotional space to hold your needs right now?
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Think of it like money. Someone might want to buy a Ferrari. They have the desire. But if they have $10 in their bank account, they lack the capacity.
So someone might love you, But if they're drowning in their own stuff, grief, trauma, work stress, they just don't have the capacity to be the partner you need.
Exactly. And there's a brain fact here, too. Wanting something and doing something are controlled by different parts of the brain. Desire doesn't equal execution.
But here's the kicker. Does it matter? If he can't call me because he doesn't want to, or because he doesn't have the capacity, I'm still sitting there staring at a silent phone.
And that is the ultimate takeaway. You can have compassion for their lack of capacity, but you cannot date potential. The result for you is the same. Your needs are not being met.
We always think we can be the exception. I can love him enough to increase his capacity.
The fixer trap. We think our love is the magic ingredient, but you cannot love someone into changing. You can only love them as they change if they're doing the work themselves.
Which brings us to probably the heaviest part of the source material, Sabrina's story about the little self.
This part really stopped me in my tracks. She talks about the origin of her silence, why it was so hard for her to say, I need this in her relationships.
And it goes back to when she was 7 years old.
She was 7. She and her sister were fighting. She ran to her room and locked the door. Her father, who was abusive, banged on the door and promised he wouldn't hit her if she opened it.
I promise.
She asked, do you promise? He said yes. She opened the door and he punched her in the face.
God, that is just heartbreaking.
It's horrifying, but think about what that teaches a 7-year-old brain.
Speaking up is unsafe. Trusting people is unsafe.
Exactly. So fast forward 30 years, she's in a relationship. She wants to say, hey, you hurt my feelings. But her body remembers that punch. Her nervous system screams, if you speak up, you will get hurt.
So how do you break that? How do you advocate for yourself when your body is terrified?
You have to do what she calls reparenting. You have to visualize that 7-year-old version of yourself. And you, the adult, you have to step in and tell that little kid, I've got you. I'm the adult now. I can handle this. I won't let anyone hurt you.
You're acting as the protector you never had.
Yes. She uses this beautiful metaphor of a paintbrush. You can't paint a new future if you're using a paintbrush covered in the paint of your past.
You just have to wash the brush.
You have to wash the brush. You have to process that old pain so you can see the new person clearly. Otherwise, you're just projecting your father onto every new face you meet.
I love that. But washing the brush takes time. And in the meantime, we still have to deal with the practical nightmare of modern dating, which is texting.
Slot machine in our pocket.
Why is it so addictive? Why does it feel like a drug?
Because it is a drug. It operates on a dopamine loop. But here's the key insight. Dopamine isn't just released when you get the reward. It's released in the anticipation of the reward.
Wait, so the waiting is the high?
The waiting creates the craving. It's like pulling the lever on a slot machine. The wheels are spinning. Spinning, that tension is what hooked the brain. Seeing those 3 dots appear, that's the peak of the addiction.
That's why silence is so loud. We're literally in withdrawal.
Precisely. And we misread communication styles because of it. Jay Shetty mentions his wife has something like 733 unread messages on her phone.
That gives me hives just thinking about it. I cannot have a red badge on my phone.
Me neither. But for her, it's not malicious. She just prefers phone calls. If he texts, he waits for hours.
So the lesson is, don't assume texting speed equals love.
Correct. However, this is a big caveat, inconsistency is a problem. If they text you nonstop for a week and then disappear for 3 days, that's a game. That's intermittent reinforcement.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to run through a few dating cliches. The source does this rapid fire, and I think we need to debunk them. Let's do it. First one, right person, wrong time.
False. The expert argues that if it's the wrong time, they are simply not the right person. Timing is part of compatibility.
Ouch. Okay, next one, it should feel effortless.
Disagree. Relationships require work. It shouldn't be a constant battle, but it will not be effortless. It's like a business. It requires investment and maintenance.
And the last one, you'll meet someone when you stop looking.
I'd say I agree, but with a major twist. It's not that you stop putting in effort. You don't just sit on your couch and wait for Amazon to deliver a partner.
It would be convenient, though.
It would be. But it means you meet someone when you release control of the outcome, when you stop entering every date thinking, is this my husband? And just show up as yourself.
That energy shift is palpable. Desperation smells different than openness.
It really does. And it all comes back to wanting a partner versus needing a partner. The goal is to want someone to share your life, but not need them to validate your existence.
You provide the safety. They provide the companionship.
Exactly.
Now, For everyone listening who is thinking, okay, this all makes sense, but I keep messing up. I texted my ex yesterday. The source has one final nugget of neuroscience that I found so comforting.
Yes, the 3,000 repetitions rule.
Lay it on us.
Okay, so if you're learning a physical movement, like a tennis swing, it takes your body about 300 repetitions to build muscle memory.
300. Okay, that seems doable.
But to rewire a neural pathway in the brain, to change a deep-seated thought pattern like I am unworthy, it takes approximately 3,000 repetitions.
3,000.
It is massive. But think about what that means. If you're trying to change your dating patterns and you slip up, maybe that was just rep number 50, you have 2,950 to go.
That is such a relief. We are so hard on ourselves, but we're literally rewiring a brain that's been programmed for decades.
Exactly. You aren't broken. You're just still in the gym. Give yourself the grace to fail 2,999 times. As long as you keep going, that new pathway is being built.
I think that is the perfect place to leave it. To everyone listening, go easy on yourself.
Yeah.
Advocate for your little self. Wash that paintbrush. And maybe, just maybe, put the phone down.
You are safe, seen, and secure with or without the text.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.